Berklee is an amazing place, and we've done amazing things despite the constraints we've had on our facilities over the years. For the first time in our history, we're starting with a piece of land and building a building from the ground up. We will be able to house all of our entering students for the first time in our history, which is very important to us, and also I think important to the city and the mayor. We're going to have a magnificent cafeteria that in the evenings can become a place where you can come hear students perform music in what they call CAF shows, which are student-run performances, and they've been happening in our current cafeteria, which is so effectively shielded that a photon of light can never find its way into that building. This cafeteria will be on the second and third stories of this magnificent glass structure that will be our new 160 building. So you'll actually, even if you're passing by on the street, be able to look in through the windows and see those performances happening. In the basement, maybe the most important part of the building for our students, which is a 300% increase in the number of recording studios and production suites at Berklee. There'll be 9 new of these studios, including one that will hold up to 50 musicians in a scoring stage, so that our film composers and those who are writing for big orchestras can actually have their music performed and heard and recorded. So there's going to be a lot of rehearsal spaces and practice rooms for our students. And it will pull students who've been living in neighborhoods throughout Boston and Cambridge closer to the campus, and we hope they'll have a better, richer experience for being here. So we're extremely excited about the building. It's very important to Berklee, and it couldn't have happened without the help of a lot of people who are here. The person who probably has been the biggest supporter since I arrived at Berklee, I'm going to introduce to you in just a second. So I'm going to take a pass on the mayor and save him for last. I want to thank Peter Mead, the director of the BRA, and all his staff at the BRA for all their help. I think Gerald Altler has been an enormous person to help this process go well with the neighbors, with the city, with all the interested parties. I think he's been able to understand what Berklee needed to get done and helped us formulate a way to make that happen that would be consistent with the city's objectives. I particularly want to thank the members of our Institutional Master Planning Task Force. You know, we get paid to do this. This is our job. These people showed up month after month for, 4 years, was it, Bill? For a very long period of time, helping us formulate a plan that we think is going to be a magnificent addition to the city. They are Susan Ashbrook, Kelly Brilliant, Tim Horn, Valerie Hunt, Gail Korn, Randy Cry, Meg Mainzer-Cohen, Richard Pendleton, Ellen Shortell, Barbara Brooks Simmons. These people are unheralded heroes, not only of this process, but of the way the city works. So we should really give them our thanks because they did this as volunteers. We have a number of political leaders who've been very important in that process as well. We have City Councilor Mike Ross, who's with us, Representative Byron Rushing, Representative Marty Waltz. They all spent a lot of time on this project and with us as well. Again, trying to make sure that the needs of the people they represent were recognized in the process. And from our point of view, you did a great job of that. We also have a number of trustees of the college here with us today. We have the chairman of our board, Jeff Shames. I don't know where here's Jeff. Pat Cassell, the vice chair of the board. Ann Crease, here's Ann, who chairs our Berklee Valencia Advisory Board. And a member of our Presidential Advisory Council, Tanya Zwicken. Thank you, Tanya. They have been steadfast in encouraging Berklee to do this, despite the fact that it's a very big project, very costly, and we had to borrow some money to do this, but the board was supportive and enthusiastic about our efforts. I also want to give a special note of appreciation to Barbara Burley, Harley Gates, and all their colleagues at the Christian Science Church. We entered the process of an institutional master plan without owning this piece of land. And we quickly realized we were going to be stuck unless we could find a site to put a technology center that would then allow us to someday redevelop the corner of Mass Ave in Boylston. We had gone to the Christian Science Church and asked them if they would sell us this piece of land, and they politely said no. They weren't in the business of selling land, and they weren't really interested in an economic transaction. After about a year of trying to come up with other options, I said to the chair of our task force at Berklee, why don't we go back and instead of trying to have an economic transaction, we'll just beg. And we did. We went back and said, this land has very little strategic value to you, and we described what we were hoping to achieve with the land. And in their goodness, they said, why don't we try to work with you? So it really was absolutely an act of neighborliness on their part. Also from our Berklee Board of Trustees, we had a number of people involved in the Campus Planning Committee, chaired by Mike Eisenson, included David Clem, Andrew Cohen, who's here with us today. Where's Andrew? Andy DiMatteo, who I also saw. Andy, wave your hand, please. Matt Epstein and Janet Marie Smith. They've been fabulous in helping us all through the planning process. I want to especially thank our architects, Bill Ron and Associates, and his team who are here with us. They have been magnificent to work with. Lee Kennedy and Company. Bill's done more of the work at this point. At this point, we kind of hand off to Lee Kennedy, and we're confident that they're going to do a magnificent job for us as well. If the building can come up as fast as the old one went down, we'll all be very enthusiastic. I have to say, many Berklee faculty and staff have thought that I was dreaming for 7 years when I talked about this building. Now that the old one went down, I think we're getting some more believers on campus. So we appreciate Lee Kennedy's hard work in helping us build this wonderful new building. We thank in advance our many neighbors who are going to put up with some disruption during the process. We're going to try to be very transparent, give you notice when some noise will be made. We're probably won't get it 100% right, but we're going to try to be as steadfast as we can in minimizing the impact on you. I also want to recognize Dorothy Scher, who's with us. Dorothy's husband, Bob, was a very important part of the Berklee family in its very early days. It's just magnificent to have someone who's been so involved for so long with us. I also want to thank Mac Heisey and Amelia Koch, our CFO and our VP of Finance, who actually helped raise the money so we could build this building. And we borrowed at a rate far cheaper than Italy and Spain can borrow money at, so we're delighted with that. The final people I want to thank from the Berklee side are Jim McCoy and Bill Whitney. They're the two people who have worked so hard on this. And it's a little poignant because Jim McCoy has decided to move to California. I didn't give him my permission, but he's going to do it anyway. Jim has worked with the community for many years for Berklee. It's going to be hard for us to replace, but one of the reasons I think people in the community were supportive of Berklee is because of all the good altruistic work he had done and gotten the college to do to help people in the city of Boston. So we're going to miss you, Jim, but thanks for everything you did to help bring this to fruition. Where is Jim? Yeah, good work. And the go-to guy on this project is our own sardonic Bill Whitney. Bill, raise your hand. Bill has a very good sense of humor, but you have to really get to know him to recognize when he's being funny or just being Bill. Yeah. The mayor knows that. But Bill's the go-to guy. Honestly, without Bill, this thing could never have happened. You've been working on this day and night since you got here, and it's just really exciting to have it underway.